Hey folks, it's JD here, and today we've got this little guy. This is a little mini drone made by Spego. Now, I've got to be honest, I bought this a long time ago. I think I bought this around about when I started the channel, which I think was about April time last year. And it turned out that we never flew it. I kept it in a box with all my unflown copters, and as I kept on getting more copters in, and as I kept on buying more, I kept on putting them inside this box, covering this little guy. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to have a little look at this guy. It comes in its own little case, look at that. But the case also doubles up as a transmitter. Now you've got your trim buttons at the bottom. This is obviously, as we looked at in the unboxing, just a little recap. Trim buttons at the bottom. You've got return to home and a couple of other buttons at the top. Also, you've got these two great big black bars here. Now these black bars unscrew, and when you unscrew them, inside them, that's where the batteries go. So two AA's, so 4 in total, and that should be enough then. Another little part that I forgot, you can charge the copter off the transmitter. Obviously that does drain a little bit of the batteries inside the transmitter, but if this is a totally portable drone with a totally with its own power source coming from the transmitter, and obviously if you do carry a couple of AA batteries with you as well, it's not going to matter that you're charging the quad off the transmitter, because you can just replace those batteries and your job done. Now I must also say that even though you can charge it from the back, you do get a USB cable with it as well, and you can charge it off that. So this is, if you do find that you're going out somewhere and you do like to take a little drone with you like I do, then this is a perfect little opportunity to have a totally self-reliant, self-sufficient drone, pretty much. So there we go. So let's have a little look at the flight. Alright, so to begin with, we're just going to open her up, take the drone out. Let's put the transmitter to one side. Right, the battery is totally encased. The stands, or the landing sprigs, cover the majority of the cables coming from the motor back onto the printed circuit board. So once again, that is good. It is a tiny little thing. Look at him. Inside the palm of my hand, he is absolutely tiny. But it doesn't mean that he's not good. So let's turn him on. Little switch at the back there, just below the charging port, and let's take off. So he's on, he's flashing. Let's turn on the transmitter. Now you get a little red light there. Once up, once down to bind to the quadcopter, standard maneuver. And then, up we go! Yeah, this sounds a lot like a Chasen CX-10. It does sound like an angry bag of wasps. Well, to be honest with you, I've never known a bag of wasps not to be angry. Right, so first impressions, seems really good. It flies well, turns well, and that's pretty much all I ever ask for in a quadcopter. Transmitter, really nice, really comfortable. Didn't think it would be, looked really awkward just because of its size and shape, but I got to be honest, the shape of the transmitter fits really well in the palm of your hand. Oh, little bit of a breeze here today. Wouldn't affect any other quadcopter normally, but I think as this is such a small quad, this little guy is finding it a little bit tricky, to say the least. But still battling through the wind. So you've got red LEDs on the back, and you've got blue LEDs you've got red LEDs on the front, and you've got blue LEDs on the back. Look at him go! God, he's so quick! I can't even follow him with my camera. Right, okay, let's bring this guy down a bit. Let's land him. But there we go, really quick, so fast! So let's see now, let's take him off again, let's get him in the palm of the hand, and then it should just be... There we go. Haha, up we go. Where are you going, little fella? So quick. I think once again this would be a fantastic copter to take indoors, just to fly indoors. Really is so much fun. But also is a little bit erratic. So you've got to be careful, you've got to mind where you fly. Because when this thing wants to climb, this thing climbs quick. Brilliant. So I just changed it then. That was 60% power on the first increase. A little bit of a of a speed difference. Wow, that was 100%. Let's knock him back down a little bit. Look at him go. Really nice. Go on in, fella. Off you go. So it's roughly about a 50-minute charge. I charged it off USB. I didn't charge it off the transmitter. But once you've charged that for 50 minutes to an hour, then you will have standard 6 to 10 minutes flight, which, to be honest with you, is, after you've flown a little nanocopter as crazily as this little guy is, it does take a little bit out of you. You do feel a bit tired. All the concentration in the world to keep your eye on him and to make sure he flies within the boundaries that you set in your mind. Oh. Quadcopter on. Transmitter on. Yeah, that looks to be the battery, folks, because I'm getting nothing from here, but it's okay because we've got a battery pack. Let's charge him back up. Right, so let's see. I haven't tried this method. So there's a little notch out of the plastic there that the cable fits through, and then because of the raised plastic on the front, the two analog sticks sit quite comfortably underneath this plastic, which means that you're not going to damage anything when you come to charge him. So let's plug him in. Is there any lights when you charge it? No, nothing whatsoever. And because everything's off, you can just, hopefully that is charging. So let's put him to one side and let's come back after a couple of minutes after he's had a bit of a drink. All right then, folks, let's take this guy back up. So he's had, I think, a 15-minute drink. So I don't know if that's going to be enough just to get a couple more minutes of flight out of him. That I don't know. Probably not, I would have said, but no, nothing at all. Nothing at all. Oh, that's a shame. Oh well, doesn't matter, that's good. At least we got our rated amount of time out of him. So let's pop him back in here and then let's go for the verdict. Another thing to mention as well, actually, look at the moulding on the inside of that. Just enough for the landing sprigs with the little nodules on them, just to click into place. Attention to detail, that's great. Alright then, folks, so yeah, impressions. Well, I gotta be honest, I really enjoyed flying it. Really nice quadcopter, reminds me a lot of the Chasen CX-10, flies a lot like the Chasen CX-10, sounds a lot like the Chasen CX-10, but has the ability to charge off the transmitter. Now, I went to try and recharge this to give it another flight. The 15 minutes I gave it wasn't enough, so I would say if you're going to charge him in between, that I would give it at least an hour before you charge it and then take it back off. Handled well. We've got a slight breeze here today and I found this cut straight through it without any issues whatsoever. The addition of this little transmitter here I thought would be really uncomfortable because these corners don't look nice, but when it sits in your hand, it sits really nicely and you get a lot of control out of it because out of the analog sticks, because I believe the transmitter fits so well, so therefore you can properly hold, and it's not a small transmitter like you get with a nanocopter, it's quite a large one. You know, put it next to my palm, it is quite large, and that is really nice. It's really nice that you can travel with the drone inside the transmitter and that you can charge the drone off the transmitter. I gotta be honest, this is probably one of the better nanocopters I think I've flown in a very long time. Or a Chasen or smaller base nanocopter that I've flown in a very long time. So yeah, you know, all in all, I'm very happy. So a couple of downsides. One downside being that you can't trickle charge it. It does need to take the full hour in order to charge. Another sort of little downside about it as well is that when you do charge off the transmitter, there's no LEDs anywhere on the quad or on the transmitter that tell you it's charging. I don't know whether this light does, if it's meant to, but when I plugged it in there was nothing at all, which is a bit of a shame. It would be quite nice to know when this little guy is charging. So there we are, folks. Thanks ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. So until then, my friends, happy flying.